Every restaurant you have ever walked into was designed to do two things: make you happy and make money. Usually in that order. Sometimes not. I have cooked in those kitchens for years, and there is a whole layer to eating out that nobody explains to you, because explaining it doesn't help the restaurant. None of this is a scam, and I am not here to make you suspicious of every place you eat. Most of us are just trying to feed you something good and get through service. I am here to let you in. So here are 10 things the menu will never tell you, the stuff we only talk about on the staff side of the door, off the clock. Starting with the menu itself. That menu in your hands is not a list. It is a sales document, and someone was paid to design it. The dish they most want to sell usually sits in the top right corner, because that is where your eye lands first. The prices often have no pound signs and no neat round numbers, because 14 feels like less money than a clean £14.00. The very expensive dish at the top is rarely there to sell. It is a decoy, there to make everything underneath it look reasonable. And that little box or border around one item, that is usually the dish with the fattest profit margin. Menu engineering is a real job that real people are paid to do. And watch the words: a dish with a little story next to it, slow braised overnight from a market down the road. Sells far better than the exact same plate with no story at all, so the language is quietly working on you too. The good news is simple. Now that you can see it, you can ignore all of it and just order what you actually fancy. Fresh is the most abused word in the building, because it is allowed to mean almost anything. Fresh fish might have been frozen at sea the moment it was caught, and thawed in our kitchen that morning. And honestly, that is often fresher than the never-frozen fish that spent 4 days on ice getting to you. Homemade usually just means made on the premises, not by hand, not always from scratch, sometimes just finished in-house. Locally sourced can mean a single herb on the plate came from down the road. I'm not telling you to be cynical. Frozen at sea fish is superb, and most kitchens are proud of what they serve. And seasonal, lovely word, no rulebook behind it. The honest signal is not a word on the menu at all. It is whether the menu actually changes through the year. A menu that reads exactly the same in February and August is telling you something. I am telling you to judge the food in front of you, not the adjective in front of the food. Here is the one that annoys people. The cheapest dish to make is almost always the most expensive thing on the menu. A bowl of pasta might cost the kitchen well under £1 in ingredients and sell for 14. Soup, risotto, anything starchy, pennies on the plate. Now that markup is not pure greed. It is paying the rent, the wages, the gas, and the hours that pot of stock quietly simmered before service. But if you want the most actual food for your money, order the things with real ingredient cost. The fish, the steak, the shellfish. That is where the kitchen's money goes, so that is where yours goes furthest. It is the same reason a fizzy drink costs nearly as much as a starter. Liquids and starch are where the margin quietly lives, and the kitchen is not hiding it, it is just the maths that keeps the lights on. Everyone has heard the horror story about sending food back. Here is the boring truth from the inside. Almost nothing happens to your food. A complaint that reaches the kitchen nearly always just gets the dish remade, properly and fast, because a recook costs us a few quid and a bad review costs us a great deal more. Most chefs would genuinely rather you send back something that is wrong than smile politely and never come back. The nasty stories are rare, and they almost always come from someone being rude, not from someone complaining. Be calm, be specific, be kind, and you will get looked after. Every single time. The one thing that genuinely changes the outcome is timing. Tell us while you can still enjoy the rest of your night, not as you are handing over the card. Early and kind, we can fix almost anything. Leave it to the bill, and all we can do is apologize. Listen to the language when they take your order. Still or sparkling. Notice that tap water was quietly left off the list of choices, but you are always allowed to ask for it, and you should. Can I get you some bread for the table? That often is not free. A side of greens with that. That is £3 of profit sitting on 50 pence of vegetables. None of this is dishonest. It is their job, and a good upsell genuinely makes your meal better. Just understand that every one of those warm little questions is also, quietly, a sale. Say yes to the ones you actually want, and say just tap water, thanks, without a flicker of guilt. Same with the wine. Can I top that up for you? Empties the bottle a good deal faster than you would ever pour it yourself, and that is not an accident. Enjoy the wine, just keep an eye on the pace of it. The specials board feels like the chef showing off, and sometimes it genuinely is. But just as often, the special is the special because we need to sell it today. It is the fish that has to move before tomorrow. The half a case of mushrooms from a supplier deal. The thing at the back of the walk-in on its last good day. And that is not a bad thing. It is frequently the freshest, most seasonal, most carefully handled plate in the place, because a good kitchen builds a brilliant dish around exactly what needs using. Just don't assume special means expensive treat. Ask what it is and why it is on tonight. The answer tells you a lot about the kitchen. And here is the flip side. If that same special has been chalked up on the board for 3 weeks straight, it is not special at all. It is just a permanent dish they have not got round to printing. A quick "how long has this been on" tells you which one you are getting. Tipping is where the kindness gets complicated, and it changes from country to country, so I will keep it to what is true nearly everywhere. A service charge added to the bill and a tip are not always the same thing. And the service charge does not always reach the staff who served you. If you want to know where your money actually goes, you are completely allowed to ask. Does the team get the service charge? A good restaurant will answer that happily, and if you tip in cash, it is far more likely to land in the hands of the person who genuinely looked after you. That is not a hard rule. It is just how it tends to work behind the door. And you never have to tip on top of a service charge that has already been added. That is the whole point of it being on the bill. One or the other, not both, and nobody on the staff side thinks any less of you for asking which it is. Here is an old chef's rule. If you want to know how clean the kitchen is, look at the bathroom. We cannot control most of what you see, but the bathroom is the one back-of-house space you actually do see. And a restaurant that lets the toilets fall apart is quietly telling you how much it cares about all the places you don't see. It is not a guarantee. A spotless bathroom can hide a grim kitchen, and a brilliant little place with a rough loo might run a tight, clean line. But as a quick read on whether anyone here sweats the details, it is a surprisingly good one. The other quiet tell is the staff themselves. A team that still talks to each other calmly in the middle of a rush is usually running a calm kitchen behind the door. Chaos out front nearly always means chaos out back. A table is a restaurant's only real piece of stock, and there are a fixed number of them. So, on a busy night, there is a gentle, practiced pressure to turn your table, to feed you well and move you on, so the next booking can sit down. The dessert menu arrives a touch quickly. The plates get cleared the moment you have finished. None of it is rudeness, it is just maths. 2 sittings on a table beats 1. So if you want a long, slow evening, book the last slot of the night when nobody is waiting for your seat, and tell them that when you book. A good restaurant will happily give you the whole night. And if you ever feel hurried and you are not on the last sitting, just say it. We are in no rush, thanks. A good floor team will read that and ease right off because most of the rushing is habit and timing, not anyone trying to push you out. So what should you actually order? The dish the kitchen is known for. The thing on every other table, the one they would be embarrassed to get wrong. In a busy place, order what is selling. Because high turnover means it is fresh, and the section cooking it has done it 40 times already tonight. Avoid the ambitious one-off that nobody else is ordering on a quiet Monday near closing. And whatever you cook at home, here is the real secret of every good kitchen. It is not a trick or a gadget. It is knowing your numbers and tasting everything as you go. That, honestly, is the whole game. And one last trick that never fails. Order the thing the staff order. Ask your waiter what they actually eat on their break, not what is most expensive, what they genuinely have when no one is paying. That answer is the most honest line on the whole menu. If you run a kitchen or a stall or a little cafe, knowing what each plate actually costs you is the difference between a busy night that makes money and a busy night that quietly loses it. There is a free food cost calculator built for exactly that in the description. And the chef-built costing spreadsheets sitting right next to it. Next time, I will tell you what really goes on during a health inspection. Follow for what actually happens in a kitchen, off the clock. The